Oh. Hey everyone, Happy New Year. I hope you had a nice time over Christmas, over the New Year period, and then it was nice and restful for you all. And I thought we'd start the New Year. Now we've kind of finished with the Christmas stuff. I admittedly was quite behind on that. But that's beside the point, because today is exciting because we're going back to Norway. That's right. Some of you may have seen that I went to Norway like towards the end of November, and I put up a video about that, about Oslo and about the train ride that I did with my friend across Norway, which was absolutely beautiful. So if you haven't seen that, definitely go check it out, or just Google pictures, because Norwegian like scenery is absolutely stunning. So much of Norway is just untouched, and it was just beautiful. So yeah, definitely go check it out if you haven't seen that video. But today we are back in a city, because after taking the wonderfully beautiful scenic journey, we arrived in Bergen, which is on the west coast of Norway and is an incredibly beautiful city too, because it's surrounded by mountains. So this, like, if you just look around anywhere you're stood in the city, you can just see these glorious mountains all around it. And it's also on a fjord, so it's a really beautiful city. Massive city, don't get me wrong, it was ginormous. But the city centre itself is fairly small and very like kind of, I don't know how to explain it. Like it doesn't feel like a big place. But then when you look on a map, you're like, wow, Bergen and like all the cities surrounding it, they kind of all merge along that coastline. It's a massive area where people live. But that's beside the point. I reckon the best thing to do is just start the video. If people want a bit of an insight on what's coming up on the video, we did loads of fun things. So we climbed one of the mountains that surrounds the city. They had a big festival on when we were there, the Light Festival, which basically marks the start of the Christmas period there. They had the largest gingerbread village in the world, which is kind of mind-boggling, like in the world. And when I say it was big, like it was big. I mean, it would be, wouldn't it? But it's kind of the dream that I didn't know I had. Like it was when I mean, you'll see it soon, but it was kind of something I didn't know was my dream until I saw it, and I was like, this is my dream. Because I've always been someone who loves like collecting things and putting things together. So like when I was younger, I didn't really used to like play with the toys necessarily. I just used to organize them and set everything up all the time. And so like a giant gingerbread village, the idea of setting that up, when I say they built everything out of gingerbread, they literally built everything out of gingerbread. It was insane, but it was just mind-boggling. Like it was something that I didn't know should be on my bucket list, because I don't know how I didn't even think about that as being the coolest thing in the world. But definitely a bucket list tick, even though it wasn't technically on my bucket list before, but it would have been. Do you know what I mean? Like boggling. Anyway, I've talked for so long about that, and you're gonna see it soon. What else did we do? We explored the city. There's a lot going on. Lots of seafood, obviously, because it's by the sea. We tried some traditional foods, pastries, and drinks too, actually. And I'm trying to think what else we did. There was snow. There was a lot of snow when we climbed the mountain, so that was really fun. There was like a fortress. There's the old area by the port, Bergen. And yeah, just beautiful scenery, a beautiful city. I really, really loved it. So anyway, that's enough talking. I hope you enjoyed the video. I may come on mid-video, but I'll just give you a little bit of commentary so you know what's going on and what we saw. It might give you some ideas if you're thinking of travelling there, or you might find it interesting if you've already been. Who knows? And let me know in the comments if you have any comments, because I love to hear your comments. But yes, let's start the video. Oh, and I got this from Bergen, but you'll see that later. I launched straight into the port, so there were so many massive boats in Bergen, because obviously it's on the coast, and that was one of them. They were just giant though, and I think some are cargo, a lot of cruise ships come in too, but me and my friend found them quite boggling to see, because they were so big. But anyway, this that you're seeing now, right by the water too, is the Bergen Fortress. And actually very similarly to the fortress in Oslo, this one is actually still used by the military today. It was built in 1261, which is very, very old, and actually used to be the home to the royal family. And right next to the fortress, just further along the port, is Bergen, which, as you can see, is so beautiful. Loads of old wooden houses and pretty fairy lights hanging between them. And it's actually a UNESCO World Cultural Heritage Site because of its Hanseatic heritage. For all of you who, like me, don't know what Hanseatic actually is, the Hanseatic League was basically a trading association that was founded a very long time ago in 1356 and was mainly in like northern Europe, especially northern Germany. And that was our dinner. It was basically at the Norwegian equivalent of Pizza Express, except nicer, and they did better pasta dishes. But hold your breath for this Jewel Bruce review. Jewel Bruce reviews. It smells of Vimto. Do you like it? Not again. No, it's actually very sweet.
Yeah, everything's kind of had the same theme.
It's almost like if the cheese was a drink, it would be that. I wonder how it gets that colour. Oh, it's icy. I think that might be Mount Ulriken because I can see a cable car going up to it, you know.
One thing that is really nice about Bergen is they've obviously got the nature surrounding it, but they also have like really quite nice parks running through it too. There's just greenery everywhere, and that was one of the lakes that's just in the very centre, and you can probably see there was a little Christmas tree on it, and we'll be coming back to that later. And here's another cute, it's just a mini park with a nice bandstand outside the Cody, which is their modern art museum. And, as you can see from my zooming in, is where the gingerbread village is going to be, so stay tuned. But first, for some really cool mirrors. And now, here we are, gingerbread village. I don't think I can quite explain the grandeur and the depth of this. I think it's something you can only experience in person. But the level of intricacy and the number of layers and buildings built on top and on top of each other everywhere and all the little lights, it was just incredible. It was so incredible, I can't even explain. And you can probably imagine the smell as well. It was so lovely. Just a lovely gingerbread smell. And because there was so much gingerbread, even though we were there for quite a long time, I didn't stop smelling the gingerbread because it was just that prevalent, and it was a lovely gingerbread smell. Oh look, there was the Rapunzel's castle, if you saw that one. Oh, that is the Quidditch pitch from Harry Potter. This is the house from Up. And just some other ones. Oh, there's football. There were quite a few football pictures. All these colourful houses there. And they had little trains running through, which just made it so magical. I looked it up, and this has actually been running since the 1990s, so quite a few years really. And it's all done for charity, so the profits go to charity. Like little boats. Oh, this sounds kind of sad, but an important message is about plastic pollution in the sea. All the local people, so the local schools, local people, all make contributions and they all build gingerbread. There were loads of little school classes and they'd stuck their heads on gingerbread, which is so adorable. And they'd made all sorts as well. I don't think I have a video of all of it, but they made like SpongeBob and everyone. Look at the Ferris wheel too. The Ferris wheel was really cool. And this display is up for quite a long period of time too, so it's really impressive that the structures don't eventually collapse, because whenever I've built gingerbread, it's got a limited time it can stand up before falling. That is just the other side of Bergen, the other side of the port, and isn't it beautiful? The coloured houses are just glorious, and then that backdrop, which is Mount Floyen. And then we just kind of went on a walk along the other side of the harbour, if that's what I should call it, to the very end, to where the fjord was, and really lovely park. This was such a peaceful park. There were barely any people there. I think it's probably not necessarily the usual tourist hangout, but it was beautiful. That was Mount Ulriken that surrounds it. It was such a sunny day, such beautiful weather. You can just see all the mountains all around, and the coloured houses are glorious. And here, I'm so sorry I don't remember the name, but it was the most wonderful secondhand shop. I don't know what it was called, but it was on the other side of the island, and you should go because they sold all the like traditional Norwegian stuff, like the jumper I'm wearing now, which are really expensive from the other shops. Super cheap because they're all secondhand, and they were like in perfect condition. So you should really go check it out if you're looking for some good bargains. That was also just the fish market, which is incredible. All the different types of fish they fish there. And it stunk, but, it was really cool inside. Very nice, very modern, all full of glass. And we went there before heading very speedily to the Light Festival, which was one of my highlights of the trip. There were artists, Norwegian artists, they had school children singing in choirs. Songs were sung in Norwegian, some songs were sung in English, and it was just a massive thing. Apparently 30,000 people go every year, and it's completely free. It was just lovely. And they had this big award for the Christmas Star of Bergen, and they had nominated different people from Bergen who had done really lovely things for charity. So they'd collected money, they bought toys, things like that, and they awarded the award to, in the end, a young boy who had basically been collecting plastic bottles, returning to the shops, and you get money, and then he used that money to buy toys for children who wouldn't have had them otherwise at Christmas. And it was just such a lovely like happy togetherness spirit, and I don't know, I just loved it.
Oh, I feel like I'm all out of words, don't need no love.
I'm sorry I can't really play you the music because of copyright, but it was just stunning. And then at the end, there were fireworks. So after the light festival, which actually finishes quite early on in the evening, we went to get some traditional Bergen fish soup. Actually, we went back to the fish market from earlier. I didn't mind it. It was just a bit bland, if I'm going to be honest. Now this that you're seeing is apparently better than a Kit Kat. So we had to try one. It's basically the same as a Kit Kat, but I can confirm it is actually better than a Kit Kat. So if you go, you should definitely get one. And the next day, something I mentioned earlier, we went on a hike up Mount Floyen. But first I went down the slide.
We are going down this wonderful slide, even though we're on the way up. It's definitely necessary. Oh no! I'm getting stuck.
I got stuck because of my bag, but you know. Mount Floyen itself, the highest point is 400 metres above sea level, so it's not ridiculous. It took us I think it took us just over an hour. I can't remember. We kept stopping on our way up. And it was also incredibly icy, so we had to walk very slowly in some places. But it was a really lovely walk up. You can get the funicular up, which I'll show you later because we did get it part the way down. But it was a really nice thing to walk up. You get to enjoy the scenery a lot more. And there's great views all the way up. Especially when we got to the top as well. It was snowing so heavily. And then isn't that just the cutest dog ever? In like a matching coat to his owner. I think it was like a little cockapoo on a run. I honestly found it so impressive though that like everyone was running in that weather and just not sliding all over the place. But I guess they had their like grips on their shoes. You can see how snowy it was at the top. And there were loads of trolls at the very top as well, which is a big thing in like Nordic folklore. And they were quite impressive. They're quite cute actually, some of the troll statues. And now prepare yourself for many rather confusing miscellaneous snow clips. To be honest, I don't know what was going on in half of these myself, but I found them rather entertaining.
It's really hard to get out of it. Been in this
These ones are so much lighter.
Yeah, they are, aren't they?
Yeah.
Huh?
Oh, it really does.
I can't smell anything. What are you smelling?
I don't know what it is.
So eventually it kind of got to lunchtime because we went in the morning, and so we headed into, I want to say village. It's not a village, it's just a shop and a cafe, but they have, I'm going to call it a little village at the top where the funicular comes in, and that is the viewpoint which you just saw. It was really cloudy, so you couldn't see that much, but a lot of people come for the view because it's got a really good view of all of Bergen. And I got a hot chocolate, and then we went out to look at the view. It cleared up a tiny bit by then, and it is quite impressive. You can see just how big the city is and how it just stretches on and on and on. And there they had all of the, all those signposts where it tells you how far away stuff is, which is cool, but they didn't have one for anywhere in the UK, so I guess we'll never know how far we were away. And then eventually we went back down. We went half the way on the funicular just to experience going on the funicular, which is kind of cool. If you don't know what it is, it's basically like a vertical train kind of thing. And it had really nice views going down again. And then we just finished walking back into Bergen, just down the roads. It's quite a hilly place for people to live. I feel like it must be hard to drive around. And then we went back to Bergen and did some shopping, of course. We went around all the gift shops. And I have to say, disappointingly, despite the shops appearing very cute, they didn't have that much in them, really. This is a skillings bowl, which is a traditional Bergen treat, which is basically a cinnamon swirl, but not quite so flaky with sugar on the top. And then here is the Bergen Cathedral, which was built in 1250, so another old one for you. Looks very similar in style, I think, to the Oslo Cathedral also. And then we went in this really cute little art gallery, and we carried on down the road to what is actually the oldest building in Bergen, St. Mary's Church, and it dates to between 1130 and 1170, according to my reading anyway. And it's been in continuous use since the early medieval period, which is kind of crazy that it's kept being used that long. But very similar design to the actual cathedral. You know, I wouldn't have known the difference or looked on a map. But yeah, it was a really cool thing to see too. And shout out to our hostel at the end, City Hostel Bergen. It was so nice. I would definitely recommend, and it was so central. So it worked out really well. And that brings us to the end of the video. Thank you so much for joining along. And don't forget to let me know what you thought of the video and any comments, questions or queries that you may have.